Everybody, welcome to the Art of Reading Smoke with Phil Jost. I'm Phil Jost. Let's get started. Here we're going to look at this video. I pulled this from the Hen site, so High Efficiency Nozzles. I'm not a rep of theirs, but like I told you a couple of weeks ago, I've been getting some questions in my classes when I'm delivering those in person about some thermal imaging videos, and people, I used a couple and say, hey, do you have more of those so we can see what's happening a little bit better inside the building? And so I've been looking for some videos, and this is what I really like. So first, I'm just gonna play it. It's not very long. We're only talking about a few seconds, and we'll see that there's this is from outside, right? They're calling it transitional attack nozzles outside the building. They're on plane, and it's a very short video. This is the outside look, and then this is it says dining room here. I assume that means that the dining room's on the other side of this living room, which would be very, very common. Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down. This is going to be in 1/4 speed, right? So we've seen it a couple of times, and now we're going to look at it just a little bit more dynamically. And obviously, we're looking at the imager itself, right? And we're not looking at the volume, velocity, density, color, but we can think about the smoke traveling along the same currents as the heat from the fire, right? The smoke is connected to the fire, the heat is connected to the fire, and they travel along the same path, right? From areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure, from areas of high temperature to areas of low temperature. And the first thing I want to do here is recognize that this is right at the beginning of the fire attack. This nozzle is just getting open. And we want to look at here is point out that the image, right, the thermal image of what's coming out of the door, this is to outside, is virtually the same as that image of what's happening in the dining room on the other side of this fire compartment, right? And we can definitely think about, like, we're familiar with the idea that as we start fighting fire, we can visualize what it looks like outside the room when we have an effective fire attack, right? We're going to see the volume, velocity, density of color diminish. The volume might temporarily go up, but as we start to smash that thing with water, we know what that looks like because we've seen it. But one of the things that we sort of in the reading smoke curriculum, I turn that around and think, okay, when you see smoke coming out of the door, out of the window, recognize that if that compartment is open, right, then that same thing you see coming out of the building, you should presume that's going in. So the same volume, velocity, density, color. So if you get turbulent, thick black smoke coming out of the window, if the door to that room is open, that's also going out into the hallway or into the next room or whatever, wherever that's connected inside the building. Right, so smoke is fuel. If we see all that fuel coming out of the building, that's what you see going in. And this is a really good representation of that. So as they start this fire attack, and the thermal layering starts to get cooler and cooler inside here, we can recognize relatively quickly a change in the dining room itself. Now, the dining room camera right here, the dining room camera, or at least the recording of the dining room camera, stops. It just halts, right? So, but if we go back to the beginning, we can see that relatively quickly that water starts having a big impact on what's flowing into the dining room, the temperature in the dining room, the amount of the products of combustion that are going into the dining room, all those sorts of things having a positive effect over here. Now let's let that continue to roll out. This is frozen now, so we're not going to see it for just a few seconds. Again, this is running at 1/4 speed, but now it comes back in, and that's a significant change in the dining room, right? You can see down here, yellow, just a little bit of red, just a little bit of red, yellow in the middle, right? The nice V pattern, nice here too. And then this camera's not low enough, but I bet if we were able to see down here, you say nearly on white on that color scale, right? And we're gonna let it keep going. And then we see it really start to lift. Oh, now it's right there at the end. I wanted to try and pause it right there. And so we see that we get a nice lift here. opposite, right? Opposite of what we had when we began. And so, in very short order, we've had a positive impact on the room that's on the other side of the fire compartment. Now, certainly you would finish putting this thing out, you would press into that space, you would occupy that space to begin searching for both fire and victims opposite that space, right? That's a given in this scenario. We're just trying to understand the impacts here. And so if we watch this thing over the course of time, even over the course of seconds, we can see we've had a positive impact on the room on the other side of the fire compartment. But it's really stark. If I just drag this thing here and go back to the beginning, which is right here, look at the difference between these two images. I mean, just it's so stark when you see it, instantaneous like this, that you're having a positive impact on the room, on the next room over, even if the water's not getting into that space. Now, if this compartment door was closed, neither the fire would have this big impact. Like the fire wouldn't look like this in there if this door was closed. And if the door was closed, the water impacts wouldn't look the same either. But you wouldn't really need it to be the same because the door is closed. We know that having that door closed is a positive for anybody who might be inside that structure. So this is imaging, right? But we know that where this heat flows, that smoke flows as well. As we start to decrease the temperatures, we decrease the temperature of the smoke, and so it goes from on the front end as the fire is growing, it goes from laminar to slightly turbulent to highly turbulent, right? And then we can reverse that flow and go the other way by the application of water, and that's what we're looking at here. So, just a short lesson. In the Reading Smoke curriculum, we also definitely I cover like some ways to think about whether or not the compartment door is closed by the behavior of the smoke and the fire on the window or at the door, the one that you're looking into. But when it's open like this, what you see coming out is what's going in. That's one of the takeaways. And as you make that positive impact through the application of water, you make that positive impact onto that next fire or that next exposed compartment. All right. So for the Art of Reading Smoke with Phil Jones, I'm Phil Jones, and I'm out.